Apparently, Chad, Capcom has played a dirty trick on you guys, chat. Do you guys want to see what the dirty trick is? I kind of want to take a look at it, to be honest. I'm kind of curious what Bellular News has to give us about this. It's been a while since we talked about Capcom. Of course, there's a Monster Hunter thumbnail in it, so I'm kind of curious to see what it is.
Imagine walking into the casino, placing everything on a single roulette wheel, and walking out with a humongous stack of cash. That is something that Capcom do not have to imagine, because they just did it with Monster Hunter Wilds. You see, they needed that game to succeed in order to save their year's financials, but not just to do that, but to save their overall company story of stable growth. Now, they got what they wanted. Monster Hunter Wilds is an incredible success, and for its game design, it completely deserves that. But it's a game that was not without risk, and PC players suffered again, as we always seem to do.
Oh yeah, no, definitely the optimization for the PC was completely terrible, to be honest. There's no defending on that, okay? All right, there is like, here, watch. Do I have to? I'm gonna pull it out right now. I'm actually gonna pull it out right now. Here, I'm gonna show you guys right now. Where is it? Where's the image? Hey, here it is. Here it is. This was what my friend had to deal with on PC. Damn, that's some crazy. That's some crazy graphics right there, man. And then here's another one. You see that right there? You guys see that right there? Let me just zoom in if you guys can't see that. Here, just let me just zoom in on that real fast, okay? Just for you guys. I wonder who that is over there. Wonder what monster that is. I wonder. There's a pretty funky looking ass Gore Magala over there, you know? But yeah. You can't defend that. If you actually try to defend that, you're actually crazy, in my personal opinion. You just can't defend this whatsoever. It's literally like you went back to playing PS2 version of this Monster Hunter game.
Now this time Capcom won. Time and time again, PC gamers are being treated awfully. I mean, one of the nice things about Clair Obscur is people saying, my god, look at this, the PC version appears to work well. And
dude, this game is so well optimized, dude. I'm playing this shit on PC in medium setting graphics. Do you know how long it's been in a new title where literally I have the game in medium graphic settings and I'm not lagging? Like my VTuber model is just like not lagging whatsoever. It's been a while since I played a game or so like this.
Doom. Well, this gamble did pay off this time. Looking through the plan that they've just outlined in their earnings report, you do have to wonder when their luck will run out. And if this sort of gamble with your customers' trust is really something we should be doing. Monster Hunter Wilds is the best-selling game of the year, and per the Circana data service, it would have been the 6th best-selling game.
It is the best-selling of the game, but it's definitely not game of the year. And those people who are saying that this game is actually game of the year, brother in Christ, you need to play other video games. I swear to God, if you think this game is game of the year. I laughed at that statement a long time ago in the video. I don't regret it not a single bit, in my personal opinion. Hey, Mao Mao.
Game of 2024 as a whole, after only 2 full months on sale. That is absolutely...
Monster Hunter Wilds is currently the best-selling video game of 2025 in the US. Full game dollar sales of Monster Hunter Wilds are already high enough that it was released in 2024. It would have ranked the number 6 best-selling game in a full year. Yeah, but unfortunately, you know, it was very unsatisfying, the game itself.
Wild. Oh, that's a bit of a cringe pun. Now, those are staggering figures, especially with how bad PC was.
The problem is, too, as well, if they decide to release, like, another Monster Hunter game like this, like another, like, let's say Monster Hunter, let's say you got World, you got Wilds, maybe you have Monster Hunter Wilds, Monster Hunter Wetter Wild or something. You know, maybe they'll add another W or something. Because they love adding W's. Maybe it'll be called Monster Hunter Wet, you know? And if they decide to release the game as well, the same way how they did with Monster Hunter Wilds, you know for a fact a lot of people are not going to be buying the game. I'm not going to be buying the next Monster Hunter game, so I know for a fact. I bought the $100 version of this game because I had confidence I'd be like, all right, Capcom has done a really good Monster Hunter stuff, you know. Unfortunately, they let me down, and I'm not buying another Monster Hunter game anymore, so.
But in spite of the fact the game is still sitting at a mixed rating from users in Steam because of continued performance issues, we actually know that at launch, more than half the US sales were on Steam. Let me explain this, because Capcom needed to save their numbers. Take a look at this video thumbnail, it's the one that I went with. It does look completely absurd and goofy, but it's actually true, and it's why they made this gamble. They basically needed to hit that. Wilds was their last chance to earn major money in that year, and they needed to deliver just under half of their full year's revenue target from just that one game. And if you look at the stat of, more than half in the US being in PC, it's pretty damn clear that they needed to ship a subpar product in PC that was not ready in order to hit those financial goals. So now that we've got the data, we can see how this gamble has paid off for them. This might make me weird, but I genuinely flippin' love earnings reports, so let's dive into this one. They recorded record-breaking growth for the 8th year in a row, and that's built off the back of not just reaching targets, but exceeding them. Wilds had 10 million sales, it caused their catalog sales to surge, and yes, that also does mean, right? 10% of all Monster Hunter games ever sold in the history of Earth, don't know if they have Monster Hunter elsewhere, but they are copies of Wilds, sold from the end of February 2025 through to now. That is fucking savage performance. Now for them, overall games were up 8.9% in operating income for a total of 125 million yen. That's 4 times bigger than every other arm of Capcom, and my god, does Capcom have arms. Pachinko machine income was up 62.8%, esports/media 181%, and arcades up by 30%. Kinda wild, and it does make me think, hey, Electronic Arts, you know the way you guys do the sports ball? Hey, why don't you have Electronic Arts Pachinko? We'd all love it. And I actually bring that up because they're kind of one step away from doing the whole sports gambling thing with what they're doing with their mobile apps, but that's a grim story for another day. Now, other games did do well. As an example, Resi 4 Remake, that crossed 10 million units sold. 2 of those units are from me, so yeah,
same old.
Capcom. Well deserved, it's a banging game. But basically, everything is doing well, and while catalog sales is going to be a major point in a few minutes, let's answer the question of that big, juicy thumbnail of the many, many yens that they needed to rake in. Did they rake in what they needed? The answer is yes.
Of course they did.
With half of copies in the US being in PC, they needed to sell you that busted, unacceptable release in order to hit their financial forecast. And that's the bit that matters here. It's why shit happens. And the reason why I talk about it is whenever bad stuff happens, you notice it, you get pissed off, you're disappointed. I want to help arm you with info so you know actually why this stuff happens instead of just random theories. Now, overall, net sales are up 11.3%, operating income is up 15.2%, and profit.
Yeah, but at the cost of your own, customers hating you, especially on the PC side of things, And then if they try to release the game again in the same state on PC, a good majority of them are not gonna buy it. So
it is up 11.7%. So in business terms, they made all of the right calls, even, perhaps especially, those calls that were driven by bad incentives that are bad for their devs and that are bad for you. What we see is Capcom be rewarded for releasing a product despite doing so for the wrong reasons. They could have delayed Monster Hunter Wilds to ensure performance was actually good, that it was basically what you deserve as a paying customer. But the incentive that they had in front of them had nothing to do with the video game and nothing to do with you, other than the amount of money you could represent for them, because instead it was about their balance sheet. They needed Wilds to release and to sell, and they needed that because they needed to maintain their streak of growth, right? This isn't like Duolingo. Capcom can't get around breaking their streak with a microtransaction. Their overall company story is one of an amazing plan that's been happening over years, amazing successes, and continued steady growth. They could not afford to break that trend, because remember, the people who own Capcom stock expect the value of that stock to go up. That is why they own it. And their comparative struggles through the middle of the 2010s, well, are kind of over. They've got this plan to achieve a medium-term goal of 10% growth every year for 10 years. And do you know what? They've bloody well done it. They're on their 10th consecutive year of 10% profit growth. Their system works. But this year, the only way...
But for how long is the question to ask?
They could accomplish that was by putting out a product that was nowhere near as good as it could have been, that did not respect their customers. And we saw this last year. Last year, to a lesser extent, it happened with Dragon's Dogma. That's a game that launched with significant performance problems. Again, they could have delayed it, right? You can always delay a game to fix up those problems. They chose not to. They preserved their corporate story. That is infuriating. They should treat you better, but I do want to be clear about one thing. This does not take away from the achievement of the game designers behind these games, because those are games worthy of being made, worthy of being released, but they could have been even better if Capcom hadn't needed to release them to meet targets that are all about making a line go up. It is mercenary logic. It is making the choices that best serve the immediate goals, and it's taking hits to things like PC performance where those are acceptable. Now, to their credit, right? And I genuinely mean that. Unlike, say, Electronic Arts, where we've talked about profit being solely for shareholders, this success does somewhat seem to be reinvested in their staff. I've actually seen this across quite a few Japanese companies recently, and it truly is good. It should be praised. They have a plan for the future to make use of the, quote, human resources investment strategy. That's fluffy words, but the plan basically is they're hiring at least 100 more developers every year, and they're trying to ensure that the ones who remain are fairly compensated. And this year, that involved a stock-based compensation scheme, a 30% wage increase. God damn, that's amazing.
Interesting.
And all of that alongside higher starting salaries and a better bonus scheme that's linked to performance. That is awesome, right? The more the companies are doing that, the better, and Capcom should be fucking praised for that, because other companies do not do it properly.
True.
It's almost as if Capcom have realized that the games that give them the nice line that goes up are actually made by developers, and if they sort of treat those developers right and pay them more and try to be a competitive employer, then guess what? It'll mean more games, and that'll mean more line go up. But it doesn't make them immune to criticism. That's why this video exists.
Of course.
You know what? We criticize the things that we love so that they stay on track. Now, basically, where they are is they have a stable business plan, they have happy shareholders that seem to be getting what they want over time.
No, can they have a team or so that can optimize the PC game port? Please?
That gets us these great games, even if they are not given as much time for polish as they really would deserve. Though, of course, with all this going well, Capcom, of course, plans to keep their plan, this 10% profit growth every year. The line indeed must go up, and they're actually now expecting to make more money next year, up by 12%. But, as has been
Reaper,
noted by
welcome,
analyst
welcome.
Maro NL, next year looks a little bit different, and it's how this video gets itself a little bit of a spicy, dramatic ending. Okay, so next year Capcom's releases are looking a little bit different. They're only forecasting 8 million new product sales next year, which actually does make a lot of sense based on what we know. And here's what we know. You've got remasters for Onimusha 2, you've got ports and re-releases for the likes of Street Fighter.
Yeah, I have been noticing the remastered Onimusha popping up on Steam.
And Kunitsugami. That'll only take them so far, and their only announced big new game is Onimusha Way of the Sword. And that's likely to be later in 2026, which would be out of financial year 2026 because, you know, just using one calendar is not good enough for the world. Now, there is potential for a new Resident Evil to take the slot that Monster Hunter had this year, but Capcom so far are not willing to commit to their investor forecast that that's going to happen, not in the way that they did for Monster Hunter. So basically, with no new games, what will matter to them is library sales. And they're saying that that would instead make up 85% of their total sales between DLC and legacy purchases. Now, admittedly, right, that does technically include, say, the rest of the year's sales for Monster Hunter Wilds. So it'll be a big number. And of course, any expansion that comes out for that game. So it's not like it's impossible for them to hit their targets.
I don't even know if I even want to buy the expansion for this game, actually, to be honest. I don't even think I will.
And again, this is Capcom. They've been very clear in their DLC practices, which is or they will sell you as many consumable DLC objects as they can possibly justify to eke a little
Jesus fucking
slice more
wait.
profit.
Whoa, wait. They already have all these DLCs already in the store? No way. No way, right? Hold on, let me see. Holy shit. Yeah.
I saw those same DLC stuff on PSN Store too.
Damn, that's crazy. It's gonna soon. This page is literally gonna look like either the Dead or Alive or the Sims. You know, like all the DLC for the Sims cost like $1,000 or something like that, or the Dead or Alive thing that'll cost you like $1,000 too as well. Yeah, I haven't even bothered. I haven't bothered playing the game. I haven't even bothered downloading it. I don't even think I even want to buy the DLC for the game itself. So the game is shit. It's just terrible. So
Profit out of the audience. I'm sure you remember there being a big old drama around Dragon's Dogma 2 and all of that stuff. So it's not an impossible target. There's going to be a bit of a lull, but those lulls are natural and okay, and they happen to every developer. I think it's just particularly noticeable here because of the impact that Monster Hunter Wilds had. You see, if Capcom can't have that significant catalog performance match up with the new game sales, then the big test of them as a company starts. Can they maintain this whole dev-first, product-focused production system if a 10-year success streak is broken? And that is what brings us to the logic that drove the decision to actively, knowingly sell you a game that was not up to par. The line must go up, and that matters to you. We know Capcom will compromise if they need to meet a financial demand. And that actually is a little bit of a threat for the future.
Yeah.
I remember Dead or Alive 5 had 8 season passes back on PS4 for $80 each.
yeah, I remember that too as well.
No, they have no plans to release a massive game within the next financial year.
Yeah.
Based on everything that we've seen, it also doesn't seem likely that they would prematurely rush some of their big games into a March release if they look like this year's targets would be missed. But that would put more pressure on the releases of financial year.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that game. Whatever fucking happened to this game? Is this game still in development by any chance? Wait, is this by Capcom? I forgot about this game. I remember seeing that one trailer a long ass time ago about the little girl, and then I've never heard anything about it ever again. Ugh, I sense bullshit from my coughing right now, I swear.
2026, because that's what all this stuff is. It's pressure to deliver consistent growth with no breaks. And Capcom are handling this as well as they can do within the overall corporate system that they have to exist in. Because basically now they're kind of victims of their own success. Whenever you say 10% profit growth every year for 10 years, that's a pretty damn high and impressive bar to hit. And maintain
Trying to maintain a 10% every single year, it's not gonna happen. There's no way, dude. I don't believe this. It's gonna fail one of these years, like, for their like quarter earnings. They can't keep up 10% every fucking damn year.
Success is what landed us with Wilds in the way that we got it. The big question is, in the future, well, will that happen again? Fiscal year 25 is a tough act to follow, but it's going to have loads of Wilds money in it. But what about fiscal year 27? How will they keep that growth up? How will they keep the line going up and up and up forever and ever? It's the struggle that every company faces. But there is one reason I would put a bet on Capcom. We clearly see them investing in the thing that matters, the thing that makes their product: developers. They are strongly investing in their developers. What do we see in other companies? Not really the same. The point, though, is that in a video like this, me and the team can basically take something that, let's be honest, is arcane bollocks, right? I mean, you don't learn about the markets and all this shit in school. You're not, taught about earnings reports. It impacts so much of the world. It impacts so much of our hobby. I really see my job here as to try and help demystify the big picture reasons why things happen, so that you have accurate answers, because whenever things are dramatic, it's very easy for cheap, convenient, emotionally evocative answers to just take all of the space. But if we actually want to be informed like customers, if we want to perhaps even make better policies for the future, it helps to know how things actually work. So I hope this video has helped. And if you want a sort of similar thing, but a different story, different point, different angle, watch this next.
It's very interesting, to be honest, in my personal opinion. I don't know. I don't think they could. I don't know. I think after a certain while or so, if they try to keep going up and up and up and up and up, higher, 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 so I think they're gonna. I think it's gonna fall pretty hard or so. Reviews don't matter when the brand loyalty reigns over quality. Case in point, Apple. They'll release a new model and with a few AI features, no real visible performance upgrades, or people will continue to cycle. Brand loyalty has always and will always trump all. Most people don't care. Who knows? Probably. There might be a turning point after a while, you know? Let's see. Yeah, like for me personally, I'm not buying the next Monster Hunter game. I'm not buying the DLC for Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm just not. I'm not even gonna install the game. I just don't find it. I don't find it fun. I really don't. I think I'd rather play one of the more older Monster Hunter games, to be honest. Hell, I even go back to playing Rise if I want to. I actually find more enjoyment in Rise than I do in Wilds, in my personal opinion. I had way more fun or so. Shit, I even go back playing into Monster Hunter World if I wanted to as well. But hey, that's just my personal opinion though. Anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. But yeah, you guys can let me know what you guys think specifically about this. I don't know. For me personally, it's just I don't think they can keep it going 10% every single like what quarterfinal or so, or yearly earnings or whatever. They can't keep it up. There's no way they can keep up 10% every single time. It's almost impossible, but we'll see what they can do or so. But I'll just watch. They're not having any of my money anytime soon. But anyways, that's the end of the video, and peace.